Hey, my friends! Today we're going to be creating beautiful high-end Christmas DIYs using everyday plastic items that you can find at your local Dollar Tree. Let me show you how I did it. On a recent trip to my local Dollar Tree, I picked up these two plastic bowls in their catering section and I brought them home, gave them a good wipe down with alcohol, let it dry, and gave them two light coats of this Rust-Oleum frosted glass spray paint. I did let them dry completely between each coat. Once they're dry, I'm going to use my little wood burning tool and I'm going to put a hole in the bottom of one of these bowls. I'm going to get as close to the center as I can. The reason for this, we're going to be inserting lights in the bottom later on. I'm going to use my favorite Gorilla Gel glue to glue the two pieces together. You can use whatever glue you may have on hand or prefer. And I love this because it sets up pretty quickly and it's not too stinky. Although I did let these two pieces set overnight. I just didn't have time to come back to it on this particular day, but it does usually set up very quickly. But I'm just going to line the two pieces up as best I can. I want the ridges to line up as much as I can. And I got very lucky with these two pieces. They actually went together quite well when I flipped that one upside down. Yay! I'm going to press down gently, and like I said, I ended up letting these set overnight. I want this ornament to be a very high-end glam ornament. So I'm using Folkart's Antique Gold and a makeup sponge that I've torn in half, and I'm just dabbing and rubbing up and down the edges and even over the ridges where the two bowls meet. Now it is a very thin paint, so I did have to go over some areas two, maybe even three times to really build up that color. Just want to take a second and welcome everybody. If you're new, I'm Gwen. So happy to have you here. To my returning subscribers, as always, thank you guys so very much for always returning and supporting my channel. Y'all just mean so much to me. To create the cap and the ring for the top of the ornament, I'm using one of these mini bowls from the Dollar Tree and also a shower curtain ring from the Dollar Tree. Took it outside and gave it two coats of Rust-Oleum's metallic gold, and oh my gosh, y'all, I love this spray paint. It is so wonderful. Anyway, I'm just going to use more Gorilla Gel glue and attach it to the top of the bowl. Now we get to do my favorite part, add in our embellishments. And I love how this greenery drapes over each side of the ornament. It is so gorgeous. I actually snipped it off of this candle ring that's here on the table. It actually came in a package of 4 from Amazon. I got them a few years ago. This one never looked very good, so I'm just recycling it. And I didn't have anything that would drape the way that this does. I think it was the perfect choice. It's very glittery, I will tell you that. So if glitter's not your thing, you might want to skip it and use something else, but just so pretty. And I do go back later and add in a couple more sprigs to fill it out just a little more. But now we're going to add in our bow, and this bow, it's just a very simple bow. I just folded over like an awareness ribbon, cinched it in the center with a zip tie, and put a little piece of that gold around the center to cover up that zip tie. The red ribbon, it is so gorgeous. It's from Amazon. It's wired and it is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's a perfect finishing touch for this project. Oh my gosh, y'all. I cannot wait to hear what y'all think about this. For this DIY, we're using 3 of the plastic wine glasses from the Dollar Tree. We're only going to be using the top half because we're making bells. I took them outside, gave them 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum's metallic gold. Love this color. It is so gorgeous, isn't it? I want to distress the bells just a little bit, so I'm going to use burnt umber. I didn't want anything too dark or too stark, and I felt that black might be just a little too much. And I'm using this little tiny chippy brush from Walmart. I love this thing. Gives you great control when you want to distress just a little bit. And as I always say when I'm distressing, if you don't want to do this, absolutely skip this part and just go straight on to the next step. As I mentioned, I want to just very lightly distress the bells. So I'm dipping my brush into the paint, tapping most of that paint off in the plate, and then just brushing it over the bell. And then in certain areas, I'm dipping my finger into the paint and then just kind of smudging it along the edge and in certain areas on the bell. Because in my mind, when the bells clang against each other, it'll cause the paint to wear off or rub down some, at least in my mind. But if you want it a more distressed look, obviously just use more paint. In order to run the twine down through the stem of the wine glasses, I'm going to use this wood burning tool and create a little small hole. And I'm just going straight down, just kind of wiggle it around a little bit to make the hole big enough for the twine. Now, y'all, this was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I've never used this wood burning tool before. So I melted the top a little bit more of the first one that I did, but it's okay. We're going to wrap twine around the stem so it's going to all be covered up. A little trick I like to use when I'm going to thread twine through a small opening, like at the top of this wine glass, I wrap scotch tape around it. It makes it so much easier. And I'm also going to use that same tip and run it through that loop that's on the top of bells that you get from the Dollar Tree. I took 3 of them and give them 2 coats of Rust-Oleum's nutmeg, such a pretty color, and I also dry brushed them with some of that burnt umber. But anyway, I'm just tying a knot a couple of times at the very top of the bell, snipping off that excess twine. And another little trick I like to use when I cut twine to keep your knot from coming undone, I add just a drop of super glue and let it harden, and it prevents the twine from unraveling. Then I'm going to go about 2 or 3 inches or so up above the small bell and tie a little knot. I'll check to make sure it's the correct length because I want the small bell to dangle on the inside of the larger one. You'll see what I'm doing right here on screen. And then once I make sure I have the right length, I'm going to add just a teeny bit of hot glue to that knot. And then I'm going to pull it all the way to the very top of the stem. I'm going to pull it pretty snugly. I don't want to cause anything to break, but pretty snugly. Hold it kind of until the glue starts to set up, and then it'll hold that piece of twine in place. I'm going to use a small amount of hot glue to attach the twine to the base of the stem, and then I'll just continue to wrap it all the way up the stem of the wine glass, just using a little bit of hot glue here or there to make sure the twine is going to stay in place, but you do want to make sure you use your hot glue very sparingly. And then once I reach the top of the stem, I'll just snip off that excess twine and use just another little bit of hot glue to secure the end of the twine. We're going to create a really simple swag to showcase these pretty bells, and I'm going to use these 2 small trees from the Dollar Tree. Now, I picked mine up last year, so they were still $1.25 then, but I do know they have them out already this year at Dollar Tree. Just going to remove the bases and then just start to fluff these trees up. I'm going to physically touch each of the branches, just spreading them straight out. I want all the branches on one side. As you can see, I'm just flattening it out. That's the best way to get the best bang for your buck with these little trees. They're pretty sparse, but we will add a little bit of other greenery just to fluff them up and make them look a little more full. Once I get all the branches straightened out and arranged like I want them, I'm going to stack one of the little trees on top of the other, and then I'll use 2 zip ties to hold them together. Next, we're going to add the bells on top of the swag, and I'm just going to play with them a little bit until I get them arranged exactly like I want. And then I'm going to make sure that they are secured to the neck of the swag. I'm just going to grab all 3 pieces of twine, wrap it around, and tie it really tightly. If I remember correctly, I tied a couple of knots, but anyway, just make sure it's really well secured, and then snip off that excess twine. And then to camouflage where we've tied those onto the swag, I'm just going to take an extra piece of greenery. This is some that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree. They have it every year at Christmas time. And then I'll just wrap that around the neck of the swag, and it'll help to camouflage that twine. We're going to make a quick and easy bow for the swag using this gorgeous ribbon. Y'all, I absolutely love it. The gold trim on it just complements the bells so well. Anyway, I think it came from Dollar Tree. It might have been Dollar General. I have had this ribbon in my stash for forever, so I don't remember exactly where it came from. And I'm just doing 3 loops on each side. I'm going to make sure my loops are even, or as even as I can make them. And then I'm going to use a zip tie and then just loop it around it and start to pull it tight. But before I completely cinch it, a little trick I like to do, I like to again check the loops and make sure they're even and make any adjustments that I need to do before I completely tighten the zip tie, and just snip off that tail. And then I'm going to hot glue the bow right in the center of the swag to help further cover up where we attach the bells. Our swag was looking really sad and sparse in some areas, so I picked this greenery up at the Dollar Tree recently. It is so pretty, and to me, well worth the $1.75. But anyway, I've cut it down, and I'm just going to pop it in here or there to add a little more fullness, especially where it's looking a little sad in some areas. And I think that was just the perfect touch. Now, if you don't have this particular greenery, no worries. Use what you have on hand. Or a little trick I like to use old garlands. I cut those down, and that is absolutely perfect for projects like this. I'm just going to pop in a few of these sweet little pine cones. I painted them white to make them look like they're snow covered. If you don't care for pine cones, you can always swap in berries or ornaments or anything like that that better suits your taste. But I thought this was just the perfect finishing touch for this sweet little piece. It's just so simple and easy to make, and I just love this. We're going to use 2 plastic bowls from the Dollar Tree to create a beautiful pedestal bowl. First, I'm going to take them outside and give them 2 coats of this Krylon paint in the color clamshell. Once the paint has dried, I'm going to use E6000 to attach the 2 pieces. Of course, as I always tell you, you can use whatever glue you prefer. I just have this huge tube of E6000. It's not my favorite, but I am trying to use it up where I can, and I thought this would be a great project to use it. I'm just going to center it up as best I can, just press it down, and then I just set it aside for a full 24 hours and let it completely dry. Now this is where we're going to take this little simple project to the next level and make it look so high end. I'm applying a metallic gold paint, and this is from Amazon, and my intention was to only apply it to the smaller bowl or the pedestal. I'm a messy painter, so I did get some on the larger bowl and didn't realize it until it had dried. So I decided to just paint the larger bowl as well. In some reason, the larger bowl did not accept this paint as well as the smaller one. I would hope you can see on screen how beautiful the sheen is on that smaller bowl. But anyway, I had to do it in layers on the larger bowl, and in some areas it got really streaky, so I took my baby white when it was still damp and wiped it away and then let it dry and reapplied. It still looks a bit distressed in some areas, but I'm okay with that. Y'all know me, I love a little bit of a distressed look, and I just think it just adds a little bit of character to the piece. To bring everything together, I just dipped the tip of my finger in the gold paint and just lightly ran it around the edge of the bowl. I'm going to create a small, quick centerpiece with this pedestal. I'm just popping in 2 of these round white discs you can get at the Dollar Tree. I glued them together. They were used for another project. And this is a candle ring that I bought from Amazon. They come in a packet of 4. And I'd already cut the back because it was too small to go around one of the candlesticks I used it with last year. Taking one of these little candles from the Dollar Tree, it's battery operated, one of the trees. I'm just snipping off that bottom and I'm just going to push it down into the styrofoam. Don't have to use any hot glue. You can reuse this bowl any time of the year. I didn't paint the inside of it, so you could even add fruit into it if you wanted to or something like that. Next, we're going to add in this sweet little deer. This is just one of those clear plastic deer that you get at Dollar Tree during the holidays. Picked these up last year. I picked up, I think, 5 or 6 of them. And I spray painted it with that gold spray paint that I am loving in this video. And I think he's just the perfect little addition to this project. I absolutely love this. I think it's so beautiful and so high-end looking. But maybe this is not something you want to do. You don't want to put this much effort into it. That's fine. I just took all of this out and left the candle ring in there and just popped in 3 of these beautiful candles. Mine came from QVC, but you can get them now anywhere. The Dollar Tree, Amazon, Walmart. I love my luminaires. I've had these for years and years, and they are the best quality. But I would love to know what you think about it. Which one is your favorite? Let me know. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch my video. I sure appreciate it. I hope you'll tell me down below which DIY was your favorite. And if you're new here and you're not subscribed, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and become a part of our family. And guys, if you're looking for more inspiration, I have a great video right here on the screen. And I will see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a blessed week.